just about going live. Just waiting for it on both platforms. Are we live? I think we may be. So we are now, in fact, live. So hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geek Battle show here on the Improv Xstreamed YouTube channel, as well as the Geek Battle YouTube channel. So, on tonight's show, we're going to be discussing all kinds of things. It may well be that Star Wars can be saved, because Kathleen Kennedy is apparently leaving Star Wars, and we'll get into that.
Hallelujah!
There we go. So, now, in a slightly sad moment of news, Capelfave, you were just saying this just before we went live. I'll look up the actress's actual name. I literally just saw about this, but I assume we're speaking about the same piece of news. The actress who played Dawn, the younger sister of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, has passed away, which is really sad to hear. Only, I believe, 39, if I saw the headline correct, but we'll get into all of that and so much more. It could be the end of Doctor Who, more updates on that, but that isn't necessarily bad news. And with that, let's start.
How does England be England without Doctor Who?
Exactly.
We have tea.
Welcome to the Geek Battle Zone. We discuss comics and puny minds are blown. We debate Marvel versus DC, Skeletor, X-Men, and Ron Weasley. Judge David slams down the gavel. The cap dreams of Henry Cavill. It's a Geek Battle stream. Nerd rage as we assemble our Geek Avengers team. Welcome to the Geek Battle party. We are the Justice League and our Batman is Marty. Say Hitler's a Tim as movies are greenlit. Every new movie, Deb's already seen it. Xbox, Star Wars, and Star Riders. Email Star Trek, and David loves spiders. We battle as Marvel, and Disney loves Blink. And we try to crown the Geek of the Week. It's the Geek Battle Show. Welcome to the Geek Battleground, where we use the Force and the One Ring is found. Cap is wrong about Resident Evil 6, and everyone watch out, cause oh shit is thick. Gerald and Tim and Diz will try to win at the Geek Battle quiz. David and Dave will confuse their crew as they dive in the TARDIS of Doctor Who. Watch out now, we're full of hot takes. Dr. Courtney is garbage, but Red Dwarf is great. You love Sega, I love Nintendo, but in the Geek Battle, we are all friendos. Oh, it's a Geek Battle show. Oh, the Geek Battle show. It's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Geek Battle show.
And so here we are. We are live. This is Geek Battle. Now we're going to get into all kinds of fun stuff, but first let's go on to our introductions. Say hello to the people. Capelfave.
Hail from the land of leopards, elephants, and crocodiles. It's me, Cap, and yeah, today's Shivaratri, guys. It's not a public holiday, but it is like a traditional religious thing for Saivas. It's the day we honor Shiva according to Dave, who is a Smurf. And the mythology factor for that today is that, like, on this day in the middle of the night, creation and preservation were technically fighting to find out who is the better amongst them. Basically, the god of creation and also the god of preservation. But suddenly, there was a divine pillar of flame floating from the cosmos, it reaching to a heights that they could not perceive. And it challenged them, whoever reaches the top and finds also the bottom where the pillar is shooting at, is declared the greatest god of creation. And the god of creation tried, and even the preserver god tried, but they couldn't, and it turned out the pillar of flame was Lord Shiva, the god of destruction, proving his supremacy both over creation and destruction. But there's also another sideline of the story where the preserver god, which is, you guys probably know as Vishnu, did find the Shiva's the divine flame's end, and when he turned into a big ball and he find it, And when he found it, Shiva was like, "Oh, someone touched my feet!" And he scooped down, and Vishnu was like, "Haha, gotcha!" And then he actually did touch Shiva's head. But that's a variation of the story. But anyways, some people tried to touch the Smurf's head, but they couldn't, according to them.
Okay, so I definitely heard Smurf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because one of the times in the chat when I was like sharing like mythology photos, Dave replied to that, "Oh look, a Smurf," to Lord Shiva's photo.
Wait. When you say Dave,
like way back.
which Dave?
This Dave, the MC Dave.
Oh, that's okay.
What?
You, Dave MC, I am horrified that you could say something so culturally insensitive. As long as it wasn't me. Right.
I mean, like, you can still consider him as a Papa Smurf, because, like, you know, he's like the grand god of Hinduism, so you can consider him as a Papa Smurf, so it works.
Okay, do you know
Was
what
that? Are you sure that was me? Because I don't recall saying that.
Yeah.
It's, like, way down the line when I, like, shared, like, I can find that chat if you want.
No.
I'm not taking the words of a man who thinks Resident Evil 6 is a good game.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll find the chat and I'll reply to it.
Let's find the chat, but in the meantime, let's all just agree Nick did it. So, now, I'm not going to lie, as you were describing it, Cap, I was like, this would make a hell of a Lord of the Rings style movie.
Most of Hindu mythology stuff, I like. I mean, like, you know, like, there's like a big war called the Mahabharata, which there's like animated movies of India. Yeah, but I mean, I'm considering because you guys are English, you probably know a lot about it because like you guys got a little bit of Hindu stuff on you guys in your country,
what, like,
so that's why.
I'll be honest, when it comes to hey, welcome to religion battle. No, that sounds. But no, when it comes to religious stuff, wow, this would be even fun just to test our religious knowledge of anything. In the beginning, there was man, Adam and Eve, Jesus on a cross, and I don't know anything else. So, that's me wrapped up.
Something about bread and wine.
Like,
bread and wine on fish.
If I were like,
and Christmas.
If I were to like, if I were to make it like a Western parallel to like Hindu mythology stuff, it's more or less like Thor, Zeus kind of stuff. That kind of stuff also happened, but like when you consider like the main big gods, they're in a sense more like, you know, like the cosmic deities in a sense, like Cthulhu and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So their kind of stories goes into that sort of territory. Where if you want like, you know, Lord of the Rings type of stuff, you go to like Ramayana or Mahabharata, where it's basically wars on Earth and demigods and all that stuff.
Hey! I make sure I pray to Elu Iluvatar every single day. That is the divine ultimate deity of the Lord of the Rings universe. So.
Oh, I go to Dungeons and Dragons gods. You know, that's why I say gods. Damn it.
And the spaghetti monster. And the spaghetti monster.
Yes. Now, Dave, say hello to the people.
Sorry, hello to the people. My name is Dave MC here in Paris, France, and my geek fact is, of course, the Doctor Who one. The Doctor is actually a licensed doctor, as he took a doctorate course in 1888 in Glasgow, and he mentions this in the Moonbase episode, where there's a disease killing people on the space station on the moon, and his companion at the time, Polly, asked him, "Do you know what you're doing?" And the Doctor replies, "Yes, I took a doctorate in 1888 in Glasgow once." So the Doctor is actually a doctor.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, Cap, what do you want to say on this?
I have a question. Is it a doctor, like an honorary degree, or is it like an actual medical doctor? Because it is different. For a medical doctorate, you actually need to have a license. You need to pass
medical doctor. Cap.
Okay.
Of course, if we had all the
saying he took a doctorate sounds more like it's the other one.
Yeah, that's why I'm
David, if we had all the facts about Doctor Who, it wouldn't be called Doctor Who.
He just did a paramedics course and he lied about it. He did a PhD in paramedics.
Yeah.
Just gonna try to mute Cap while I'm at it. I'm working on it.
Okay, so no, that is fascinating. It does sound like he's not a medical doctor, but I'm sure in even more recent years there's been that he said that he's a doctor of all kinds of things or something. But yeah, that's interesting.
But that's a bit of official thing that he has taken a doctor's degree in Glasgow.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, the Moonbase episode takes place in like the 23rd century or something, and he took the doctor's course in 1888.
Yeah. May not still be valid.
So he's not.
No, it might not be valid anymore.
Capelfabe,
Yeah,
you
but, like-
understand that even John Cena is a doctor of thugonomics, and that does not mean
Yeah.
you should take out your spleen. Right. But okay.
I do, but I do like when you point out the fact that like Doctor Who like has many sorts of expertise. There's also the meme, right? Why is like in every fiction a vampire is always a rich aristocrat, and the meme is, well, if you live 100 years and you're still broke, just step into the sun.
Yeah. We'll get into all of this and so much more, but I think we spoke about this as a rumour last week, but apparently now it is confirmed. John Lithgow is playing Dumbledore, so Lord Farquaad will now be Albus Dumbledore going forwards. But apparently he's going to be something like 89 or something like this once they finished filming the series.
Oh my god.
So, I saw a quote from him, it might be here. So look, yeah, he says, well, it came as a surprise to me. I just got the phone call at Sundance Film Festival for yet another film, and it was not an easy decision because it's going to define me for the last chapter of my life, I'm afraid. But I'm very excited. Some wonderful people are turning their attention back to Harry Potter. That's why it's been such a hard decision. I'll be about 87 years old at the time of the rap party. But he said yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I think he's a fantastic choice. He's going to make it really quirky and weird.
Well, he is kind of a quirky and weird person anyway. Like, the characters I've seen him play, like in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and then in the sitcom Third Rock from the Sun.
Yes.
Like, imagine if Dumbledore came out and said, "Welcome to Hogwarts. I am the High Commander."
Yes. Cap, have you seen Third Rock from the Sun?
No, but I'm aware of it.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Right.
Basically, Cap, John Lithgow, and I can't remember the three that play it. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays an old man in a young man's body.
Yeah.
And they're basically, all four of them are aliens visiting Earth, and they try to sort of understand humanity in a way.
Oh, hang on, Dave. Let me pick
Go
up
on,
that
you.
for a second. I'll only be able to add a few more details. So they're undercover pretending to be humans, and there's 4 males, aliens, and one of them is presented as being a woman who ends up sleeping with the guy from Jurassic Park. The oldest one of them is Joseph Gordon-Levitt when he was about 10 years old, and you know, he ages throughout the show. Then there's another one who's a bit weird, and I forget, he played Inspector Gadget once. But then, like, the one that's in charge of them, like the High Commander, is John Lithgow, and he poses as, like, a university professor and learns about relationships and all stuff like this. But then, the big giant head, who is their leader, comes down to Earth, and it's played by William Shatner. And none of them know how to integrate with humans properly, and it's just about learning how they more and more learn about human life. It's so funny. But
This is like
yeah, go on.
This is like Uncle Martin from Mars meets Power Rangers because of the giant head.
I mean, possibly. But my favourite joke from it, if you guys will, I'll try to explain the reference if you don't get it. The Twilight Zone movie that came out in the late 80s had like 3 stories within the film, and one of them was a recreation of a famous old Twilight Zone episode, which they actually did a remake of on The Simpsons as well, where it was William Shatner originally playing the role, but then John Lithgow playing the role. And they're on an aeroplane, and they look out the window, and there's a monster on the side of the aeroplane, like
Gremlin!
Sorry?
Gremlin!
The Gremlin, yes, you do know it, right? So anyway, the whole time William Shatner's like, you know, there's a gremlin on the side of the plane, sort of thing like this, and then they remade it with John Lithgow. And in Third Rock from the Sun, the very first time you see William Shatner as the big giant head, he's being dragged off of a plane, and he's like, there's a monster on the side of a plane, and then John Lithgow goes, the same thing happened to me! And because I played the role in Twilight Zone. It was brilliant, great show, I love that show.
That's a brilliant joke, that.
It was so good, yeah.
when you guys like describe this trick, like I'm always finding out either the Animaniacs episode of these like skits from the old movies, or it's the Looney Tunes one. And I already told David you should definitely check out Tiny Toons Halloween special because they do Abba and Costello. They also do this. Exactly the plot that you described is actually a short in the Tiny Toons special.
Oh wow, that's cool. That is very cool. Do you know what? I saw something earlier, Cap. Now, you said about the film Substance being based... What was it you always likened Substance to?
It's like Batman.
Yeah, okay, so I found something that showed... I don't know, can I show this? Yeah, I can show it. Right, so I'll have to scroll. Where's the camera? So, feet of clay.
The clay face.
Yeah, so look, so it's using the substance, and there's the guy getting the clay, and then showing how they're becoming monstrous and stuff like this. Before eventually, like, how things end up at the end. So
See?
I see it. I see it, Cap. You know,
like they basically took that's actually from the Batman the '90s, the Batman the Animated Series. But like the whole philosophy thing about aging and stuff. That's the whole season of Batman Beyond, just in the movie, except without the gross stuff.
Nah, amazing stuff. Now, guys, let's talk some hot takes and opinions. Things that we've seen, things that there's news about. Cap.
First, before we get on to the Star Wars and stuff, I did put up a poll of like if you could have a power sword, which sword would you pick? And the swords I've got put up on the poll is the Grayskull sword from He-Man. Second was the lightsaber. Third was the Sword of Omens, and the fourth was the Sword of Daylight.
What are those
the post
from?
The Sword of Omens from Thundercats. The Sword of Daylight is from a Netflix series called Troll Hunters. It's really good. It's basically like a light harness within a sword. It's like a Buster Sword of Clouds from Final Fantasy. It started out with like Sword of Omens basically getting all the traction, but then all of a sudden, lightsabers became like the most popular sword in my whole poll. And the weird thing is, only like 6% of people voted for the Grayskull sword. And after the poll is done, I actually asked, do you know that if you do get the Grayskull sword, you can actually become He-Man and punch a planet to smithereens? But you all want the lightsaber for some reason.
It makes cool noises. What can we say?
It does make cool noises, Cap.
Okay, well let's hear him, Dave. Let's see it. Give us a little demo of how it lights up. Light that baby up for us.
If it would turn on, oh, hang on, it's not charged.
Oh, no. He-Man's sword never ran out of battery.
Yeah.
Shut up!
I have a He-Man sword, but just not to have.
But,
It's been in my cupboard for about 6 months, so the charge is dead.
Yeah,
but here's the thing there, David. Like, I get why there's also another reason why would they go for the lightsaber, because like the Sword of Omens, the Grayskull sword, even the Sword of Daylight, you have to be chosen to wield them. Otherwise, they just won't work.
Yeah.
But for lightsaber, you can just press a button and it will work.
Yeah, hang on.
Well...
Wait. With He-Man's sword, you don't have to be chosen.
Yeah, otherwise the power of Grayskull will not fall upon you.
No, but like Skeletor got it. He wasn't chosen.
No, that's his whole plan. He has to get the sword and become evil. He can do that. He's an evil sorcerer and stuff like that. But the random schmo picks up the sword. Like the power of Grayskull will not go to him because like he's not He-Man.
So hang on, it's kind of like Thor's hammer, except you can pick it up, but if you're not worthy, it won't work.
Yeah,
So
same with like Linus.
correct, why Dave's use of the lightsaber, he's not worthy.
Well, his color is of course red, David. So you get your answer from that. But also the same thing with like the Sword of Omens. Like Lionel's sword won't work for other people. It will work for Lionel, and if Lionel grants it to like another Thundercat, it would work for them. But otherwise, still, it just wouldn't. Even the sword itself is small. It only gets big when Linus has it in his hand.
I beg your pardon.
Apparently it gets bigger when you touch it, according to Cap.
Only when Lionel touches it.
Wow.
That explains a few things, Cap.
Although the Sword of Omens does, so in Thundercats 2011 they basically kind of copied Marvel, and basically the gem inside Lionel's sword, which is in the 80s show, it was just called as the Eye of Thundera, but in this is basically an Infinity Stone called the War.
Bigger one.
Wow.
A
Okay,
broadsword?
what one is that? Is that like Kylo Ren?
No, this is mine.
What do you mean it's yours?
Well, it's my personal one.
Wait, so you made one, or... Explain this a little bit more, Dave, before we get to it.
Made this one.
Yeah.
Bought this one.
Wow.
But yeah, it is a crossguard variant. I think it was called Vanguard on Saberforge, with a crystal in the middle. And this one is fully charged because it has a kill switch in it. And it's blinding my face!
Wait,
Where's that light
purple.
coming from?
What?
Wait, so...
it's purple.
Yeah, but
It's
where
purple.
did
This
the light
was-
go?
In my eyes.
No, but is it like a torch? Like, what happens?
Well, I have detachable blades that go through here.
Yeah.
2 crossguards that go either side as well, and it lights the tubes.
Ah. I like it.
I mean, come on, it's not a real lightsaber.
It might be.
That would just be
It
that
might
would just
be.
that would just be ridiculous.
Well, they're
I
trying
think-
to make them, aren't they?
Because
They
like,
are.
if it was a real one, they would obviously would have fumbled it, and it would have like gone to the Earth core, and Earth would have been destroyed.
I think I heard something recently that, in theory, they could make an actual lightsaber. The only problem is that it wouldn't just stop at like after like 2 feet. It would just keep going.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
There's a Rick and Morty episode where someone does make a lightsaber, and then Morty like fumbles it, and it falls. And because it's a lightsaber, it keeps going. It doesn't stop. It will go until it like crashes the Earth core, and Earth is basically destroyed.
Yeah.
Robot Chicken did that as well, when Qui-Gon was cutting through a door, he said, "We're almost through. Hold on to this, Obi-Wan." And he dropped it, and you can hear everyone going, "Ah! Oh my God! God, where's it coming from? Ah!"
Okay, so in theory, if you drop a lightsaber whilst it's activated straight down, you could never retrieve it, could you?
No, there's a kill switch in it.
Does it?
And they have kill switches. Why do you think when they're thrown out of their hands, they turn off?
Oh, that's true. Okay, fair enough.
Okay. So the Jedi is not stupid. Okay.
No, they're not that stupid.
They're kind of stupid. They all got killed off in episode 3.
I mean, yeah, but Qui-Gon is the only one to officially die. Think about it, because Qui-Gon is the only one who's ever, like, a main character, Star Wars character, that's died by a lightsaber,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everyone else is
they
killed
all
by
come back.
clone troopers, and everyone else nowadays, thank you Disney
It
Star
comes
Wars, who
back.
get stabbed, they come back and they just walk it off like there's nothing wrong.
It's just a flesh wound. It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone is the Black Knight from Monty Python.
Okay.
They're just going, "I'm invincible!"
You know, guys, I've been watching the Star Wars films in chronological order. Well, no, in a weird order. I'm not gonna lie. I watched 4, 5, 6. Then I watched 1, 2, 3. Then
Yes.
I watched Rogue One. Then I've just finished watching Solo. And it's amazing how like the Disney produced ones, they're just not as interesting.
No,
Like
that's
even
what I
Rogue
found.
One, which was pretty good at the time. Like no one had major problems with it, but it was just like there isn't much plot to it, and it was just kind of
Yeah.
like a lot of effects and that, and then in the last 20 minutes, it's suddenly like, oh, here's 2 scenes with Darth Vader, and then everyone's just like, that was awesome. Vader turned up and had that cool scene where he just takes out everyone in the corridor. But other than that, there really isn't very much plot to the entire thing.
Yeah, I think like maybe that's why they put Darth Vader in it, because that would get people to come and watch it. You know, you throw Darth Vader into any sort of Star Wars media, then of course people are going to go and see it. Like what they did it with Kenobi when they brought Vader into Kenobi. As soon as everyone found out Kenobi had Darth Vader in it, of course everyone went to watch it. So you throw he's like you throw him in, that's it. Even in the Jedi Fallen Order games, like the Jedi games with Cal Kestis, Vader was not, you played the whole game and you don't see Vader. The minute he's thrown in, everyone got the game.
Yeah.
I think there's also two things. One is Star Wars. Well, the most iconic thing is Darth Vader. Much relevancy like Luke had is I'm not even sure like a lot of the younger generation know Luke that much anymore, because like if you imagine like if you grew up like in the 2000s, like in 2000s media, you know Darth Vader. Because like there's the Clone Wars series and there's like you saw Anakin and stuff like that. But like Luke is, you're always like, who's Luke? And then you have to actually watch the old movies to realize. Otherwise you only see him in The Mandalorian. And that's why they lost the plot. The story we had was, okay, we had Anakin's story, we had Luke's story. Story's basically ended. The either way you can go is move forward. So they should have actually made movies about Luke. That would have just been fine.
Well, there's the thing there, Cap, because it's something I've hammered in several times now, is that Lucas created all these stories that happened after Return of the Jedi, and Kathleen Kennedy and Disney said, oh, we're going to treat these characters with respect, we're going to treat them with kindness. Yeah, they kind of ruined Luke Skywalker in the first, 5 minutes of The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
And they took all those stories that they had, like with Chewbacca dying and all the years in the future when Luke is a Force ghost, all that gone.
But even in that, right? Like, why did we get old man Luke? We didn't want old man Luke. We wanted cast a young guy and Luke's story continues on.
It's an interesting. No, I would say Well, look, Cobra Kai has proved that having the old man story 40 years later can be brilliant. Star Wars decided. Well, hang on, wait.
David. Think about it, David. Like when they do Batman, they don't suddenly let's make Dick Grayson Batman and do a movie about him. They can't. We already know him in underpants. It just won't work. Just make Batman. Because Batman is Batman. It's not Batman. Luke is like Batman. Make Luke.
Because it was always the plan. Well, always. But it was a long time the plan for a triple trilogy of Star Wars. And so you think in the 80s there was the original 3, and then it took 10, 12, 15 years before they suddenly say, okay, here come the prequels. And so we see that, and then it was we're not really going to do the sequels. But roll forward 10 years later, they are going to do the sequels. This is now 30 years after the originals. And it's okay, so what was the whole plan? George Lucas told them, and they were like, nah. And literally what they did do, when you think about it, they did the same formula that they do with any of their Disney classic cartoons. Where it's here's Lady and the Tramp. And here's the sequel, where they're in the background and you watch their snot-nosed brat, who you don't care about.
Yeah.
And that, Little Mermaid 2. She's a brunette.
Oh. No.
That's literally what
Melody.
They just get the children, the offspring, and do a story about them, whilst the old ones have a cameo.
One of the weirdest of the sequels, David, is when they did a sequel to Mulan, and it's instead of it was a story about Mulan, you know those 3 idiots from the film? They were comic relief and you found them really funny? Yeah, let's make them main characters.
Oof.
What?
Oh, don't. No, Mulan 2 is just I'm going to nerd rage, but I'm not going to. I will be fine.
But even Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. It's it ends on the baby. Now it's going to be about the baby, and here's a twist. It's a girl. It's well, we don't want to see her get romanced and boned.
We've already done Hamlet with the Lion King. Let's do Romeo and Juliet with the second one, and maybe we'll do King Lear for the threequel.
Yeah.
Although what they did do with the Lion King late, although this was a bad move on their side, they did create the Lion Guard, where there's Simba's other son called Kion. The only problem with that, I find, is that it was a kid show. Instead of going, if they had done a teen show, it's much more for an older audience, and they skipped all the supernatural weirdness and obvious childish show tropes. I think that show would have been good. But they went with Disney Junior. It's Keon and the Lion Guard. Magical Roar. Let's team up. Cheetah, Hippo, all unite. It's Captain Lion. So it basically went that route.
Okay, so let's very quickly come back to Star Wars for a couple of points here. But first of all,
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy to step down. Now, I've just looked this up, and already I've got an article here from CNN saying the Star Wars chief is staying at Disney despite a report that she's leaving. At least.
Fuck!
So it might not be true, but everywhere else is reporting that that she's gone.
I love the fact that when you mentioned it, David, when you mentioned it, Dave was like hallelujah. It's basically like the one teacher you don't like in school, like when they like skip school, you're like, yay, she's not coming. Dave's joy was similar to that.
Yeah, we get to watch the video on our project today, not actually talk about it.
Yeah.
No, it's just because the whole creative decisions that she's made, they're all her decisions that she's made while it's been under Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
So everything bad that's happened is on her, and yet apparently someone like me is to blame why the Acolyte didn't do so well.
Well, you didn't watch it,
well-
though. Did you watch it, Dave?
No, of course not, because
No,
I was
me
told
neither.
it wasn't. Because it was told, oh, it's not for you. I went, okay, I won't watch it then. Oh, why aren't you watching it? You told me not to watch it.
Yeah.
I would say in the current day of internet, like even before I check out a show, I go and see what is the summary of it on YouTube, and like if it looks something good, I would even the trailer, right? Like, how many views did the trailer get for the Acolyte? I mean, like the Mandalorian.
The Acolyte had quite like several views, and I was the same as you, Cap. I thought, oh, I'll give the trailer a watch. And to be honest, like when I read the summary beforehand as well, I was excited because we'd been teased about what the Acolyte was going to be. We said, oh, it's going to be about an origin of the Sith. Okay, I like that. I like that idea because we've never had Sith focused media. Let's go for it. Oh, now we're going to have some sort of Force god as a human. Okay, that sounds terrible. I don't like that idea at all. We're going back to the dark side. Okay, that's fine. And then all the decisions that came from the Acolyte, I was just like, why would you do this? Why?
I do remember specifically they did that show retconning like Anakin's whole thing, and
Exactly.
that made me angry because I love Clone Wars. Clone Wars is the only Star Wars property that I'm really attached to. I watched it since I was a kid, and like Anakin becoming Darth Vader done right so well in that show, and I like the whole plot and the mythos that was created in that. I know that Dave has some issues because like they basically stole Luke's stories and they gave him to Anakin a bit. But still, I'll find it. I like the show. I like it too much. The clones are good. But yeah, when you retcon stuff that like people actually already watch and have invested in it, they're gonna be like, yeah, fuck this. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm just gonna pretend this doesn't exist.
But like I said, the main problem they did was they made it 100 years before the Phantom Menace, right?
Mm.
And they add characters like Ki-Adi-Mundi into it when, no, he wasn't even born yet. Oh, now we've changed the date, so it does match up with that. But then having these dark side users be active in a time where the Sith were supposed to be gone, having them active and having the Jedi know about this, not tell the Chancellor, even Yoda knew, showing him at the end of the Acolyte, so he knew all along that the Sith were going to return. So that changes everything. The whole point was, in the High Republic era, it was after Darth Bane's era. Darth Bane had just established the rule of two, and the Sith were in hiding. And the reason they were in hiding was because they were gathering strength, getting stronger, until a time when someone would rise and bring back the Sith Empire, aka Palpatine. Yeah. Having them active and have the Jedi know that they're active is ridiculous. You can't have. Like, it's just maddening.
This is same as like the Rings of Power did with their own Lord of the Rings lore. At least like the only excuse I give for them is basically they didn't have the rights to a lot of stuff. But still you can work around the stuff and you can reference it and then play smart with it. But they didn't.
But what they could have done, and this is what they could have done: change the Acolyte into something like their Tales of series, but do Tales of the Sith. Do stuff with old Sith that we've only seen in something like Knights of the Old Republic. Do an Ajunta Paul. Do the Greatest Warrior Tulak Horde. Do a Darth Malgus run. Do all these different characters and show us the side of the Sith from that point of view, instead of making shit up and pissing everybody off.
They should have shown us the Darth Plagueis the Wise, and they did for a brief second, and he looked terrible.
Well, but that's one of the problems. Everything like Disney does generally, and it's amazing how there is unity across Star Wars and Marvel in particular. And it's probably all come from some meeting of, we're launching Disney Plus, how are we going to approach these things? It's like, we're going to do like 8 episodes of filler, and then we're going to show a tease of something, so then you'll get it in the next series or the next movie. And they do that over and over again, but we get 8 episodes of filler, where it's like, oh, it's a mystery who the bad guy is, or we're going to change the lore, and that even extends, like you were saying about Rings of Power. Everything nowadays is, we want to tell this story. It doesn't fit with what's been established for 30 or 60 years, so we'll just ignore it. But the thing is, if you'd done that in the 80s, you'd have had some people writing into like a geek fan which is literally just photocopied. But now there's the internet, so everyone instantly knows and is instantly like, oh, they can't do this, and then they swear like it gets this negative reception, where then like, oh, the fans are toxic, the fans, you know, they're not really fans if they don't go along with. But it's like, why we were fans because of what came before, and now what you're doing changes that or discredits that or rewrites it or unwrites it from history. And was the big thing, because again I haven't seen the Acolyte, where they said that basically instead of the Force there is the thread.
Yeah, so that the idea behind that was because you know the Witches of Dathomir, their whole thing. So they use the Force. They use the Force in a different way to like the Jedi and the Sith. It comes as magic, but it's a way of the Force, right? So that's what they have. They call the thread, which is an extension of the Force. But it's like, well, why not just call it go like the Witches of Dathomir? Don't give it a name.
Well, okay, so what I think this is, and this is genuinely my theory, I'm going to come back to Doctor Who, which again is under Disney control, is if you're holding this, then it could be a weapon. So Disney had them replace it with a mouse. A Force sounds quite aggressive, so now it's a thread. And they've made everything weak and pathetic.
It's Star Wars! It's Star Wars! It's about Wars!
Are they going to rename the Power of Grayskull to something else? Like the Bold Man's Head or something? The Power of Bold Man!
Power of Pixies!
This is the thing, I saw articles recently, but I know they've been saying it for years. Like, you know, the idea of like old James Bond films, a few years, because James Bond, that's the thing we can discuss perhaps as well, because there's been big news about that this week. Henry Cavill is in there. So Jeff Bezos put the poll saying who should be, and over 50% said Henry Cavill. So we'll come back to that. But anyway, but they were like, we can't have James Bond villains that have got scars anymore. It's like, but
why?
Well, because it's offensive to people if you've got a disfigurement or something like this, and like, and this is where they're going with all Davros in Doctor Who.
Oh my God! Why?
That episode they did. Hang on, let me bring up Davros from 2023. Davros 20.
Cap, do you know who we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, the food critic.
This was.
Yeah, the guy in the wheel, the guy in the chair.
Okay, so hang on, look. This is Davros that you'll see here on the right is what we're focusing on for now, as he's always been, right? That's what he looked like in 2008. But and then look, there's an even older one, so they basically kept the look. And then suddenly they did a short 5-minute episode with David Tennant in 2023, and suddenly
it's the food critic.
This was Davros. And
it's
people
the
were
food critic from Ratatouille.
But they were like, is this an origin story of Davros? So
we've had the origin story of Davros.
But they were like, this is what they're saying. It's like, so, but like people were saying, are we seeing before he ended up as like this hideous monster in a chair and stuff like this. And they were like, no, but Davros is meant to be in a wheelchair and we can't have something that's offensive. So they ended up just making him some sort of...
He didn't start...
Yeah, go on.
You know what?
He didn't start...
Grand Moff...
You know
Sorry,
what
Kat.
You know what is really offensive? Is that like, oh, we can't show a villain in a wheelchair because like a person in a wheelchair might think that, and am I a villain? No! They won't go and look at that and say, oh, it's again like don't be like forgot the good old phrase, like don't judge a book by its cover. Like no wheelchair kid can look at that and say, oh, all wheelchair people are evil. That's not gonna be in their head. That's not what.
Yeah, exactly. Like Davros is morally evil. He is evil. In a wheel, he is evil.
Basically, just said, let's just make him Grand Moff Tarkin.
Let's just Grand Moff Tarkin.
I mean, look at the uniform, the hair, everything.
The thing that annoyed me the most about that was Davros didn't start working on Daleks until he was in the fucking chair.
Yeah, exactly.
David, Google the food critic along with this new Davros.
Food critic.
Yeah, the Anton Ego from Ratatouille.
Oh, yeah. yes, we've looked at this before. Okay, hang on. Food critic. Ratatouille.
I can't unsee that now, Cap.
I can't unsee it. It's so good. It's so spot on, it's unbelievable. So, here we see Davros.
There is Davros.
Oh my god! Look, the guy it's based on literally is the same person. It's amazing.
Oh god!
Oh.
I'm here to rate this Doctor Who episode. 4
Can you imagine that if Tom Baker, instead of Tom Baker offering Davros a jelly baby in Genesis of the Daleks, he'd go, "Well, do you want some ratatouille instead?"
I like it. But guys,
like the one
one
that you said, David, about like it's force, like I like to call the wussification of everything. Yeah. Because like that's what I basically call like in the first movie. What's with the wussy fight scenes? If you go back to the Lion King, like the cartoon, by the way, where they kind of like show blood and everything, but like the imagery in that, if you pause like the lions fighting and stuff, they are really cool, like wicked even. Like it's not like if you like put a mute on it and like show the last fight scene between like Simba and like hyenas and the lions, it looks cool, wicked, and it's not wussy enough. It's really good. Because like they know you need to do tension while doing a movie. Look at that.
Yeah, you could see, you almost feel every strike that they put between each other.
And it's about lions fighting, so like we need to entice the drama. In this one, in the new Mufasa movie, it's basically like, you know that scene where the Hulk plays with 2 stuffed toys? Yeah. That's basically my reference to when I saw the Mufasa movie fight scene. What is this, like, CGI? You can, like, video games do a lot of good stuff with CGI. Why are you so wussy?
Going with that as well, Cap, in Star Wars, the Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor games, you can't cut people in half with a lightsaber. As maddening as, like, sick as that sounds, in the game Jedi Outcast, when you have your lightsaber, you cut aliens and stormtroopers, you can cut arms and limbs, cut them in half. But in Jedi Fallen Order, you can't do that. They just get you chop them down like this section, and all they get is like a little mark on their armor, and like, ow.
Did Darth Maul write a very strong letter to Disney and saying, "I don't want to see people get cut in half"?
Yes, I have personally experienced being chopped in half, and I feel offended by this.
It's just crazy. Like there is this sense of everything now is lame, right?
That's the word.
Everything is just lame compared to what it used to be. Like when you watch like Predator or Commando, like the Commando is such a classic Arnold Schwarzenegger film, where everything he does in that, you just feel like this guy's going to get business done. Like, in the first scene, a guy sat there, and his daughter's been kidnapped. And this guy's like, hey, chill out. Do you want to see her back? You're going to do what we say, right? And Arnold just goes, wrong, and kills him. It's like the guy's just sitting there. Nowadays, it'd be like, okay, I'll put down the weapon and stuff like this. And he's like, he's kidnapped on a plane where he's got to do what the bad guys say, and he just kills this guy with an elbow. And then he's like, I'm gonna kill you last of all, he says to someone. And he's then holding this guy by his leg over like a cliff. He says, hey Sully, do you remember when I said I'd kill you last? He goes, hey, that's right, you did. He goes, I lied, and kills him. It's like, this is heroic action, getting the job done. Whereas now, we'll have the Doctor who cries for no reason at all.
Well, I mean, the only valid reason I had for him crying is when Sutek killed everything. That I understand. Like, the emotional weight behind everything, I get.
You know what? Yeah, go on.
But the way they handled Sutek in that, I cannot abide.
Oh, it was awful. It was so bad. But do you know what? I wouldn't have minded the episode, but it was too early in the season with Shooty Gatwa, where I forget how it happens and who stands on it first, but Ruby is stood on a landmine, or he stood on a landmine, right? When he stood on a landmine, he shouldn't be crying, right? She should have done something and stood on the landmine, and he should have been trying everything he can, and then had that moment, and it should have been like a single tear, where she realises that tear from him is because he knows he can't save her. If they'd done that, that would have been the right place. And literally, I'm saying about one tear. Not just he's standing there crying the whole time. But, yeah, go on, Cap.
Just, like, think of the impact of, like, subtlety. Even, like, I'm not saying, like, you can't have, like, emotional scenes and stuff, but you can only feel its impact if the other stuff are not lame as well. Like, if the other stuff are lame, and he's, like, crying constantly, the weight of crying itself kind of goes up. You get, like, okay, so he's crying at everything. So he becomes that guy, instead of being like, oh, I feel it.
Well,
I feel that.
Do you know what? There's a perfect example. Have we seen Cobra Kai here, or can we discuss it?
You can.
Okay. So, in the penultimate episode, I believe it was, like, the penultimate episode ever, you see Johnny Lawrence backstage with John Kreese. And so, obviously, in the Karate Kid in 1984, you know, he was the sensei, he was the student, but they were the bad guys, and it all went to hell, and his life went to hell, and that's what the whole redemption arc, 6 seasons into Cobra Kai, they've then got the main villain, well, I guess it became Silver, but John Kreese there, backstage with Johnny Lawrence, and they both end up in tears. And he's like, you ruined my life, and I loved you. And they end up hugging. And it's like, you took 6 years, 6 seasons, after 40 years to get to that point. That was earned. Then it is earned.
Can I ask you, David?
Yeah.
I don't mind admitting, at that point, I did cry. Did you cry?
No, bitch! No.
I cried!
No, I can say, good for you, Dave. Good for you.
Because I feel like it was 70. It was like young Johnny coming through at that point. And if William Zabka does not get an award for that, I am pissed.
No, like, so I watched it. I didn't cry at that, but I can tell you. Well, obviously, I just brought it up. I recognise that is the emotional thing that was earned, and they took 6 years to get there.
Yeah.
40 years of a story later. Go on, Cap.
I mean, like, something similar to that, I would say, like, in TMNT is what I could actually add, because, like, I haven't fully seen Tier. In TMNT 2012, Master Splinter dies. Shredder kills him in front of the Turtles.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, but here's the thing. But you know the most emotional moment, like, when he dies, is also the emotional moment, but, like, when finally, like, the Turtles face the Shredder, and Leonardo was, like, fighting the Shredder, he's like, the only one left. And, like, Shredder beat him down, and he pinned him. And he get a vision of Splinter coming to him and says, it's like, in this series, like, we see all the Turtles training as well. And, like, before Master Splinter, like, a few episodes before, Master Splinter finished his training with the Turtles. And, like, in this one, like, actually you get a vision of the Splinter coming to Leo and saying, Leonardo, fear nothing. And then Leo just like, God, goes up and he fights back Shredder. It's a sad moment actually, but it's also filled with like such hopefulness.
Yeah.
That made the whole fight seem so like I was more teared up in that fight scene than the rest of like even like in the more saddest moment because like that's what I'm saying. It's the weight. That's
Yeah.
why like pain, this graphic imagery, they work because like they give you the weight.
I think the last time I cried at like a film or TV show was The Last Jedi. I was like, this cost me 10 quid to see.
I was the same. I was exactly the same during The Last Jedi.
Yeah. I was like, oh god. Now, do you know what? There probably have been things. I can't remember what. There's definitely been something recently though where I was like, oh, that's so emotional, sad. Oh, no one else here watches it. I've been watching Dexter. That's got a genuinely sad moment in it. I won't say what way, but genuinely.
You mean the prequel you were saying?
No. I've been watching the OG version as well.
Oh, which season? Maybe I'll go to that one instead of watching the twin storyline.
Here's the thing: you genuinely can do. Just watch Cat. Watch seasons 3 and 4. If you're gonna skip anything, skip 2. But if you were literally just to say, I'm going to watch a finite amount of Dexter, watch seasons 3 and 4, and it'll give you so much. But if you skip 2, you lose a big chunk of how they got there. You know.
Maybe I can just watch it because like a lot of the things, like the season 1 so far was David, like it was good until they got to the end.
Yeah, but
it was so good.
Everything has a twist back then.
Yeah, but the twist was the Shyamalan level twist. That's why. It's funny. 2, I did start a bit watching the 2, but I did kind of get bored of it. So like I left it. So if you're telling me to skip to 3, I would rather skip to 3. And if it's good, then
with Dexter, and quite a few shows do this, it builds up, and like the season finale might be really good, and then it has to kind of reset and build up again. You know, so many shows have to do that. Like Cobra Kai does that. You know. It has like some big thing and then a calm and it builds up. You know, everything has to do it. 'Cause you can't keep if everything's up here, then nothing's up here. You know.
I would also like to put out like the Thundercats 2011 as well. One of the things that I think they should have done some of it, but they should have done it for Mufasa. In the Thundercats 2011, they actually made like Tigra and Lion-O brothers. They are actually brothers, and like Tigra is like the older brother. But Lion-O is the one who's chosen to be king, mainly because like Tiger is adopted, and also he's a lion, and also the sword also chosen, and you go through this like whole sibling rivalry. And, like most of the time, they're actually utter dicks, and most of the time Tiger whoops Lion-O's butt. But when it matters, like at the end when there's like a huge position where it's like betrayal's about to happen, Tiger always has Lion-O's back. And it doesn't mean like he always gets the happy ending because of that. And again, he loses the throne. So in this storyline, David, like Chitara, both of them, like Lion-O and Tigra, both were eyeing Chitara.
Yeah.
But like Tigra was like known her since like childhood, but like Lion-O kind of met her, but he really wanted her. But then that also breaks off, and this again like this good tension. And David, if you can, or maybe I'll send you the link and we can use it. There's a good fight scene where they takes in the spirit realm, where like Tigra also gets a sword of omens for himself, and he gets to fight Lion-O to prove that he's actually better, and he is.
Wow.
Actually, he kicks Lion-O's butt, but in the story we kind of get the sense like the reason why they chose Lion-O is not because like he's the greatest fighter or anything. He basically has the heart of a king. And he's actually a better man than anything other than else. And you get all these it's story building, it's losing, it's winning, it's the whole journey. We all forgot the hero's journey. Maybe not Cobra Kai, because you guys been rapping good about it.
I will say, Cap, you hit the nail on the head right there. I think a lot of these fantasy, sci-fi, all these films are forgetting, and TV shows as well, they're all forgetting the hero's journey. You know, the best example I give is if Goku from Dragon Ball had his god-level power from the first bit of Dragon Ball, there'd be no point. There'd be no point to all his fights. There'd be 0 point to anything. You know, if your hero has maximum power from the beginning all the way to the end and doesn't learn anything, then what's the point?
So what's the best way to do that? Because what usually happens is it will either be that a character learns to get their powers and then they're that. But you look at everything, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, it's all got a time of, well, I can't be the hero anymore, I've lost my powers. They always have to remove everything from someone so they can build them back up again. You know, Superman lost his powers because he gave them away. Superman 3 becomes the bad guy and has to find his way back. Batman gets his back broken, has to train himself up to be able to do anything. Spider-Man, he loses his powers, or he gets the symbiote and stuff like this. They always have to take the power. Iron Man loses his powers, like literally. Thor loses his powers. They do it with literally everyone.
With Superman though, it's very interesting. Like in the '90s animated Superman the series, they don't necessarily take away his powers, but like they put him up against enemies that are really challenges to Superman. Yeah. Like one of the episodes that I remember is like kind of scary. You know the Parasite, right? The Parasite villain of Superman. Yeah, he basically kidnaps Superman and like puts him in a basement so he can like come and leech off of him. And Superman's utterly helpless. He can't really fight that guy because like, yeah, it's really scary in Kid Show. The dude beats Superman up. He traps him in a basement, and every time he comes and juices on Superman and leaves. And then it takes Jimmy, Superman, you know, Clark Kent's friend, Jimmy. He's the one who comes and helps out Superman. That's how Superman frees himself. And the best way to show, like, for like ultra powerful characters is the like you can't really if you lose the powerhouse aspect, they're not going to be the powerhouse aspect. But you can always show weakness in character for powerful people. Batman is easy. He's still a human, so all you have to do is like put him against a bigger challenge. But for someone like Superman, always show weakness in character more than in weakness in power. In the Justice League, that's why they did it beautifully, is because like Superman becomes like the sole protector of the earth. The president says like everyone disband their nuclear weapons. We have Superman now, so we don't need nuclear weapons anymore. And everyone disbands their nuclear weapon. Next day, aliens attack, and Superman. We still got Superman. Oh, it was a plot from the aliens. They did it to weaken humanity because, like, if you rely on Superman, he's just one guy. He's really powerful, but he's still a one guy. And that's where, like, Superman learns, oh, I need more people with me to actually... That's why he recruits Batman, Green Lantern, and they all come together to actually... Because, like, even Superman cannot cover everything. So that's the way to approach a powerful character.
Yeah.
I would say that as well, Cap. But I'd also say like a character needs to be humbled a little bit. Like you say with Batman, he's got like let's use the back breaking as an example. Batman had his back broken by Bane, and you know, as I say, he's a guy. He's Batman's in his prime. He's in the prime of his form, his fighting skill. He's established himself, but then he gets humbled by Bane. And then, as you say, he has to build himself back up. So it's like you say, it's a hero's journey, not just in power, but in character, in yourself. You know, it's like Spider-Man. Spider-Man was the same when in Spider-Man 2 he lost his powers, but then he realized, no, actually, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm now just Peter Parker. Oh, I get them back. And the symbiote is exactly the same. The symbiote gives him more power, but it changes him not for the better. I mean, the Spider-Man 3 film, ignore that. I'm ignoring that symbiote, but the symbiote in itself was trying to be a hero. Originally it was trying to be a hero, as it did take Peter. It took control of him and went out into the city and did its own thing. But even then, Peter saw it as, no, it's changing me. It's making me aggressive. It's making me a worse version of myself. So, you know, it's a journey in power, and in spirit. So that's what they need to get the perfect balance of now.
It's amazing how much they can't get the balance of anything right. Because even when you just speak about like symbiote, let me ask both you guys: Venom from Spider-Man 3, Venom with Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. No, it sucks. Like each of those films got worse than the last. Like the first one, we were like, oh thank God it's not the guy from that '70s show. It's Tom Hardy. It's Bane. But like, I don't think it holds up that well. I think when
with the Tom Hardy's Venom, they turned him into the hero basically. Like it wasn't a messed up symbiote trying to do the good thing, but it's kind of psychotic. It's more like a romantic comedy or like a buddy cop film. That's what the Sony was going for with the Venom thing. If they had a better script, I think like Tom Hardy would have been a much better actor to perform than the guy that got it.
did.
What, for Bane?
For Eddie Brock. Because he was always kind of...
Oh, I just have something in my head. Okay, it's absolutely like this, you know?
Yeah, everything's just kind of...
Constantly annoyed.
What could you imagine if he did it?
This kind of squeaky, weak, and pathetic character.
Imagine if Venom had the Bane voice, like, oh, hello, I'm going to eat your brain.
I think you're right. Tom Hardy is just a shit actor.
Is he the new Jai Courtney?
You know what? I like Tom Hardy.
In terms of, like, to answer your question, like, in terms of, like, Spider-Man 3 or Venom, I'd choose the Venom's Venom over Spider-Man 3, because Spider-Man 3's Venom really got it mixed up a little bit. Because the thing, the symbiote makes you aggressive, it makes you psychotic, it makes you evil. Actually, it doesn't. The symbiote has nothing to do with that. It imprints off the host. So, however you're feeling, the symbiote has been feeling. Like the reason, and this is a little fact: Deadpool was the first person to own the Venom symbiote during Secret War. During the Secret War event, Deadpool had the Venom symbiote, and then he put it back in the jar that Spider-Man found it at during the Secret War event.
Wow, that's I did not know this at all.
Yeah, because the Clintar, they're all connected through a hive mind, and if they like someone like Carnage, he's not connected to the Clintar hive mind, so he imprinted off Cletus Cassidy, so that's why Carnage is psychotic, is as mad as the Mad Hatter, but Venom is kind of that grey area, Yeah.
Okay, guys. Something I want to do. This I'm going to take us well back for a minute. You don't have to spend long on this, but I found it in the background here. Let us very quickly rank the Star Wars films. So look.
Oh, okay.
This is something where it's tier maker, so you can put them wherever.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So this is a really cool thing. We should use it more on the show.
I've actually used this and done this like ranking Disney princesses on their badass level.
Okay.
On their badass or their bad ass?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so guys, we may not all end up happy here, but let's try to do this as a consensus rather than
Okay.
our own. So obviously, look, this is someone else who made it. So like at the bottom, Youngling, Padawan, Knight, Master, Council Member, and Grand Master. So. Let's go. Well, these are lined up here. It does have stuff like Mandalorian, Rebels, and Clone Wars here. Shall we just?
Yay, Clone Wars!
I mean, we can put them in there if you really want, but I can't comment on those at all, right?
I'll help with that.
Okay, well, I was going to say, shall we begin with just stick with the movies? Because at least then they've got like a 90-minute thing each. So where do we can give some thoughts on it, but let's start. With Star... Well, no, shall we do it in the release order? Let's go in the...
Yeah, do it in release.
Okay, so we have Star Wars. So, for me, I think it's going to be up here at least, because if it wasn't, then we would have never got sequels.
Yeah, I would say... actually, I would put it in Council Member.
Ooh,
just a little bit below. There's still some rough edges. Like, because I watched the original one, like the VHS one, so before the special edition stuff that was thrown in afterwards, and going, I based my assumption on like the things on that. It was an early stage thing. They were working out some of the kinks in that. There was some of the 3D model stuff that they do in the Death Star battle is phenomenal. It's fantastic.
I think most of the problem is like a little bit of the dialogue writing. I think like the dialogue of that film is not that great, but like still like this is probably like the early, because like weirdly Luke sounds like oh golly Jesus Batman, like he
do you know what? I think that is kind of true until look, I would say that doesn't ever go when George Lucas was in charge, because he
gets better in the second film, right? He gets a little.
You remember when he meets Yoda for the very first time, and he's just you again? You're still here? Hey, get off of there! It is this job. Oh, it is. It absolutely is.
You willikers!
When you watch the prequels, Anakin is still like that. His dialogue is really weak.
But the thing with like David, like that little Anakin I can handle, but you know the second film, the asshole Anakin, is terrible than that. In the second film, he's just.
We're in agreement. I was talking about teenage Anakin.
This guy was meant to be a good guy. I don't see it.
Yeah. Douchebag the entire time. Okay, so Cap, where would you put it?
See, this is the thing. Like, what old films like that? I'm gonna ask you guys. Like, all the characters kind of had that. Oh, jolly Jesus, Batman, like that attitude throughout. Like, it's an era thing of the '70s. If it was, then we can't really blame that. So I'm gonna like maybe the second level is.
Okay, well, do you know what? I won't fight you guys too much on it. But I would say, because I didn't see Star Wars until, it's a few years ago now, but it's like probably less than 10 years ago, the very first time I saw the original Star Wars film. And I was just like, oh, it was so accessible, because I think for years for me, I was like, oh my god, there's a whole religion on this, it's going to be really complicated to get into. It was just a breeze, it was so much fun. Yeah. Like, literally, it was just a blast to get into. But yeah, so I would say the first one for me has everything in it that I'd hope for. They improved, the budget's improved and everything, I completely agree. I kind of think that some of the things that they put in the special editions and all that are kind of distracting, because they don't look like they fit. And also, they've aged worse than the original special effects.
Exactly.
Like 1997 CGI, it's like, ugh! It's like, that looks horrible, you know, whereas obviously a puppet, it looks great, you know, it's still something, the lighting is good, you know, it still works. Okay, so, now we're going to come to, I won't give my thought first, but I think I know where it's going to end up. Let's see, are these in the wrong order?
Yeah, you've put Return of the Jedi before Empire.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, Empire Strikes Back. Cap.
Does anyone want to? Yeah.
This is where the Luke does like Yoda training, right?
Yes.
I do remember like some good lines, from Yoda. So I do have a soft spot for that, like the training arc. So I'm gonna same level. I'm gonna stick with the same level.
Okay, Dave, how about you?
I'm gonna say Grandmaster. It took things from A New Hope and improved upon it. The Battle of Hoth it was really good. Like the beginning battle, it was really good. We get some more lore established in it as well. They go a bit more in depth into the lore when Yoda's training Luke. He talks about like in A New Hope, Obi-Wan touches upon like the light side and the dark side, but in this, Yoda really talks a bit more lore aspect of it. So we hear a bit more about the difference between the Jedi and the Sith, and we see even Luke struggle. You know, you see him when he kind of sees the future, and then he acts upon it immediately. So forgetting all of his training, and then we see his first fight with Vader, and he's not prepared. He's not prepared for it, and the stakes are raised as well because the Empire is constantly hunting Han Solo and the gang.
I agree. I agree with everything you're saying there, Dave. I just think it had the right. Well, okay. So here's the thing: out of the original trilogy, the first one is the one that got the gang together. This one, obviously, Luke goes off and does his own thing, but you kind of see them all working towards something, and it's dark. And what's something that I think that's a real plus about this one is that they knew that they were making the third one, and so not everything ends up good by the end of it.
No.
Case in point, mostly in the case of Han Solo, but it's like it's dramatic, it's gripping. So
one thing I'd like to add to that is if you watch Empire Strikes Back at the end of the film when Lando leaves with Chewie, Lando is wearing Han's clothes.
Okay.
He's wearing Han Solo's outfit from A New Hope.
Okay, what's the deal with that then?
I have no idea. I just noticed it.
They just ran out of wardrobe.
They had no more wardrobe.
But do you know what? Look, okay, so obviously, the Millennium Falcon was Lando's.
Yeah.
And now he's like, that bastard's out the way. I'm gonna wear his clothes.
He stole my ship. I'm gonna put on his shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and so where's the next one? Have I lost everything? Return of the Jedi. I'll give a thought on this one to begin with here. Actually, Dave, you haven't gone first yet.
No, I did for A New Hope.
Oh, did you? Okay,
You go. You go. Yeah, you go.
So I'll go first. It kind of takes the characters away from a lot of the action, where they're just trying to like stop a signal at a base, kind of thing like this, and you've got like Leia and Han there. And it just feels like, well, the main characters aren't doing the main mission. The main characters are doing a side quest, so other characters can actually do, like, even if they did the most important thing. Because, like, I'm trying to think, if you've got, like, a film that's like, we're going to launch the missiles, and then you've got the computer nerd that's trying to block the signal, this put the main characters into the role of, you got to stop the signal so that all of the other characters, who we don't know as much, are going to be the ones that save the day. I think they got that wrong.
See, the thing is, like, the only thing I remember from the third film is the final fight. I've not seen and rewatched it in a long time, but like the final fight is so impactful. So
Okay.
it's up there. It's up there. I can't do that. It's the movie that you go and like when you see Darth Vader's out of the helmet. It's the end of the story. You have to give it to that.
Do you think? Look, and it's not fair to include the prequels into this in a sense, but we'll get to it. But if Darth Vader,
the only prequels I acknowledge is the Clone Wars.
Okay, but when you get to to Darth Vader's redemption story, as we were talking about, like with Johnny Lawrence or other characters like this, he's done too much that's bad. He can't redeem himself. Why is he a Force ghost at the end? Now, look, we'll get on to episode 3 later, but that scene where he literally murders all the younglings himself. It's like this guy can't be redeemed, and yet he's then there as a Force ghost, and literally in the special editions or the remasters or whatever, and they've literally just got young Anakin Skywalker there. It's like this was the guy that killed all the children. So there's stuff that's messed up.
David, there's an actual meme where it's like Anakin being a Force ghost and appearing between the other Jedi and all the younglings that killed him looking at him. All the younglings Anakin showing up to the ghost party. Look who's here! The guy who killed us!
What's anyone else's thoughts? Because for me, personally, if it was... Look, these can stack side by side, but if it was literally just an order, I'd be putting this here.
I'm not defending this film, but like for the Anakin thing, right? Like again, like this was like much fleshed out in Clone Wars, where it's like we do see like how the failures of the Jedi and how they fail him. Still doesn't excuse Anakin going, kindergarten killer man, but kind of say like they were basically the Jedi were breeding their like in a sense their own child army. They got so strong, and one of the procedures of the episodes where we said like they don't like kidnap babies, but in a sense they go like, your child's force sensitive. It's better if they come with us. It's good, but still, but it's just a child. I want to have a child, I want to give him a normal childhood.
They don't have to. They don't forcibly take children away, Cap. They don't take them by force. Oh, sorry, I forgot. They don't take children by force. They recommend that it's better, and considering that the Jedi are highly respected, of course parents are going to go, oh, my child is a Jedi. Of course, I'll send them away. That's kind of the mindset. But they take them away when they're pretty much babies or when they're young, so they have no parental attachment, so they can be molded easier.
Yeah, see that's where the it comes from. But it's like that does not sound good. I mean, like it's basically like the Witcher's taking childs to turn them into mutants. Although I do have to ask Dave, like, what is the survivable ability of a child becoming a Jedi? Is it like in the training or something like that? Is there like chances of them dying?
No, not for Jedi training. For Sith training, guarantee it. For Jedi training, not so much.
Unless you're there when Anakin is there, or unless Luke Skywalker tries to.
Probability
and Vader's grandson is there, and then you all get butchered. So
definitely. If that's the case, then it's fine. But it's like a Hogwarts scenario. If you're a main character, it's certain death. But if you're a side character, you're fine.
Yeah, as long as one of the Jedis doesn't suddenly go rogue and kill all of the other Jedis, it'll be fine.
Well, considering that.
Twice.
But also,
considering the majority of Sith are fallen Jedi, your chances of surviving are slim to very slim.
Yeah.
And also the fact that like during the Clone Wars, they actively used Jedi in the wars, and again they would send out Padawans. Again, they're not full Jedi yet, but teenagers. Like off to war.
Yeah. Okay, so the question is, where are we putting Return of the Jedi?
I would put it in council member. If I take away get rid of, I'm always thinking about the VHS versions that I had. The Battle of Endor is pretty meh, because I just don't like the Ewoks. I detest them. Whenever I'm playing Battlefront 2, I just use them for target practice. But I think the stakes could have been. Actually, you know what? I changed that. Kind of put it down to Master, because I think the stakes could have been better. I said because they were on a sort of time limit. Like they had to get this signal to block the shield down before the fleet arrived to destroy the second Death Star.
Yeah.
But rehashing the same point, saying, "Oh, the first Death Star blew up. Oh, we're just going to build another one."
Yeah.
And okay. If this is the Emperor's grand plan It's like when Family Guy did the Return of the Jedi, they were like, "Oh, great, we've built the second Death Star. There's been no problems. Great, is there a hole? Yes. What? There is another. We put another hole in there. Yeah. It's like, why would you do that?
I'm okay with it going in Master. Cap, do you have a different
thought? I'm gonna take my Elder's Wisdom on this one, because like I only remember the fight.
It's still good. It's still Master. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's still okay, but it's just it could have been better.
Okay, now we come on to the prequels. We have Star Wars Episode 1.
Okay. This movie does have some good stuff in it, and the good stuff is the Palpatine. Palpatine is the very good stuff in this. Like the way they made a politician like ruin like the whole Jedi. It's like it's Star Wars, guys. So like a strategic play of like turning the tables together, Palpatine using the Senate to make him basically a dictator. It was all in a sense like in an adult. I know that in a kid brain that would probably like flew by you, but like after an adult watching that, you was like, this is good political play. It's like a House of Cards level writing on that shit. So I like that. It's really, and also I do like the established. I know that people are not very keen on the midi-chlorians thing, but I was like, fine. It's not like anything like ruined it. It's just like it's fine, okay. He's just more force sensitive. You can just say that, or you can say he has more midichlorians. So, again, I have to give so, like, compared to the writing of the other guys, like, specifically, like, war and, like, political intrigue and stuff, this one is, like, by writing, in a sense, like, plot-wise is, like, way better by, like, writing standards.
Yeah.
So, do with that what you will.
Okay,
That's
so
my input.
What I'll say is that, again, watching this recently, like, the CGI is so bad. Like, the fact that most of this was shot on green screen, it's a bit hard to watch nowadays. Compared to this coming out in 1999 and what they could do in Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, 3 years later, and then obviously by the time you get to episode 3, they've upped their game, but it's kind of hokey to look at. I don't mind Jar Jar Binks so much, but I can see why they.
Oh god, I forgot about him.
Well, he's such a big part of it. I can see.
Let's ignore that.
More and more. I think they were trying to. When you think about what did they have, they can't have Chewbacca in it. They can't have. Well, obviously they can have Yoda in it, but it's like you can't have this kind of character as part of the group in the same way. And so they came up with the idea of Jar Jar Binks.
They're like, what is the idea of, like, I know that, like, there's also the toy angle with some of the stuff, but, like, I always saw, like, even, like, Chewbacca, it's just like, who looked at Chewbacca and Jar Jar Binks and thought, oh, those are cool toys? Who was that kid?
With Chewie, I'm sure. He's a great Bigfoot. Like, of course people like Chewie, right? But anyway.
I mean, like, it's for some reason, like, they don't fall under action figures. They don't fall under cute characters. They're like this, like, weird middling thing. So it's like, okay. Like, I personally, if I have like a toy collection of Star Wars, and they say, like, you can either have like Hans or Leia or Luke or Chewbacca, but you can only have one. Yeah, screw Chewbacca. It's either Luke or Han or those characters, not Chewbacca.
I just don't know that, obviously, like, getting the balance of characters, obviously they were like, right, so Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be the centerpiece, we'll end up with a very young Anakin in this, and then obviously they had to bring in the idea of, like, well, who was the wise mentor to Obi-Wan, and also introduce characters, Samuel Jackson, Mace Windu, and other characters, and flesh things out, show us some other characters.
Casting was brilliant. Casting was amazing for this film.
Yeah.
But, I think they said themselves that they shouldn't have killed off Darth Maul in this movie.
No. I think Darth Maul should have been a continuous villain throughout the sequels. Having Christopher, like, I'm going to bring it up later, but having Christopher Lee as Count Dooku is good.
Yeah.
But Darth Maul would have been a better antagonist, especially for Obi-Wan.
Well, also, when you think about Count Dooku, when you watch episode 3, and it's kind of just like, well, he's there, but they instantly nerfed him, just so that it's like, we can just get him out of the way, because we're going to be all in on the, on Emperor Palpatine here, right? It was just like, yeah, you could have kept any of those characters in it longer. You didn't have to have a bad guy killed off in 1. You didn't have to have Dooku killed off at the beginning of 3. And so there was to me there was a lot of stuff to enjoy in episode 1, but it doesn't have the same dynamic. It doesn't have anyone that's got the charisma of Harrison Ford in there. Padme, and it's like, well, I'm really just the servant girl. It's not the same as having Princess Leia, so they just didn't quite. And also, like, Anakin was like half her height. It's like, whoa, how's this gonna work out?
Yeah, if I could throw my 10 cents in a little bit, I think they could have made Anakin a little older than he. No disrespect to the actor, but I think they could have made Anakin a little bit older than he was.
Yeah.
And like I said, when this film came out, I went and watched it, and I went nuts for Darth Maul because I thought that was incredible. Like, I had the lightsabers when I was a kid. I had the lightsabers. I had the double bladed. My brother actually had a Darth Maul mask. But I'd say for this tier, I put it in Master. Just because we're establishing a lot of things. We're building up to, you're re-establishing some lore. You're going, we're going back before, the rebellion, before the Empire. We're going to see the rise of the Empire. So, like Cap said, we're going to see Palpatine scheming in the background. We know Darth Sidious is going to be the Emperor. We know where this is going, but it's how they're getting there. It's how we get to this point. And when we see Anakin, like, okay, how's this kid going to become Darth Vader? I'd say it's a Master category.
Okay, Cap, what would you say?
I agree with Dave. Again, like the writing is the strong point for this one. Unlike there's issues with Jar Jar Binks, and although like I'm not that caught up on like Anakin being young and Padme being a little older. I don't know. Maybe it's a sugar mommy thing. I don't know what.
Can you give me some credits to buy my mum out of slavery? No.
Yeah.
Let's take a look here. So, at the moment, we're saying Return of the Jedi and Phantom Menace are at the same level, which I don't think is actually true. But
just wait.
we can adjust this, right? We can come on to Attack of the Clones, and let me just give a very quick thought on this. I'm not saying it's bad, but
it's bad.
The clones don't attack in this movie. It just
they don't.
A TV series.
Yeah.
They don't. Yeah, I'm with you, David. Where you've got it now in the night category, I put it there because it is so slow and boring.
Yeah. And Dave, they don't like sand. It gets everywhere.
No one likes sand anymore.
Well,
do you think?
Like, is there anything? I watched this recently, but honestly, my mind's kind of like blanking on it already. It is boring. It was boring. What was the clones didn't attack. We get introduced to the idea of them. There's a big
and we get this like weird romance. We get this like we spend so much time on this weird romance.
It is a weird romance, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the
obviously we don't know what's gone on in between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, right?
Well, nothing has.
So we don't know.
When they meet each other at the beginning, she's like, "Hey, do you remember me?" And he's like, "Hey, baby." And it's just like constantly, he's just like, "My intentions are to bone you," like instantly.
So awesome.
As soon as he came up, then I haven't seen her in 10 years, and I shall bang her.
But also,
it's actually, David,
like, you're a Jedi, no boning allowed. It's like, wait.
Yeah.
Actually, David, there's a line where she actually says, like, I remember when you were like this tall, and you're just a little kid running around. And then he was like, yeah, but I'm big now. I can do a lot of it. And it's so good.
Yeah, I think take away the romance out of, well, I say romance with quotations. You take that out, it doesn't really change anything story-wise. Yeah. Because obviously, if there wasn't the romance, Padme would obviously still suggest, "Oh, we're going to go save Obi-Wan because he's your master." But yeah, I just think the only good thing for me that came from it was Jango Fett. Like seeing Jango Fett, seeing a bounty hunter. I like bounty hunters. They're one of my favourite class of people in the Star Wars world. They're the most interesting. And then I just think it was just dull. It was just very dull. I didn't find myself invested in anything. You know,
and this is where they actually fumble the point where, again, Anakin is the protagonist of these prequels, and again, we are showing a story of a fallen hero.
Yeah.
You are first films down. We see childhood. Now you show his heroic side. This is where we get to see Anakin in his prime, where he's the hero, the Clone Wars, and stuff like that. But instead, we get this weird, moody, emo kid.
I completely agree.
Who's an asshole to everyone.
Yeah.
Even his relationship with like Obi-Wan, right, is terrible.
Yeah, this is where I feel like the writing could have been a lot better, because I think you're completely right. We needed to see him become the hero, and then, oh my god, I had such a thought on this. So, like, when his mother died, Oh shit! It's my internet gone. Right, when his mother died,
Yeah.
that should have been the crux of the moment that sent him over the edge, and they didn't play it that way. Like
That, and also, this is where I will bring up the Clone Wars series, David, is because, like, again, one of the things they established, him and Anakin have, Obi-Wan and Anakin, they have great relationship. And
Yeah.
most part, like, Anakin is like this charismatic war hero who does like great speeches, who wins battles. He's like the stoic dude. But you get like little glimpse of like his like anger side. Like whenever it's like his Padawan or Obi-Wan is in danger, the Jedi will be like, "Oh, we will interrogate the prisoner and we will find Obi-Wan's location." And I would be like, "Screw that!" And he would just literally force chokes the villains and get the information out of them.
yeah,
And again, it's always done in the act of love. He's always worried for someone. That's why he's like doing it. And you can see the character flaw in Anakin is because like if you push his buttons, there is the dark side to Anakin that will come. He's mostly a very good dude, but he has like the Jedi rule, strong attachments towards things.
but
And
go,
yeah. Yeah, so you get little glimpses, and there's like a one scene I really like is that so Obi-Wan is sent to protect this princess, and they have like a past relationship thing where the princess is a pacifist and Obi-Wan is a Jedi, and there's some sort of in a hostage situation. And in that hostage situation, say the villain actually says like, Obi-Wan, if you kill me, because she's a pacifist, she's not gonna like you anymore. And because she's a pacifist, she can't approve this happening. So who will strike me down and be named as a hypocrite or a bad guy? And Anakin just like died. And then they played the Darth Vader music slightly in that scene, where Anakin is like nonchalant, kills him, and picks up his weapon, and you get a tiny glimpse of the Darth Vader scene. This is how you build a big villain.
I think the writing of him turning to the dark side could have been. I think if you got a really good writer who wasn't trying to think, well, I'm going to take Star Wars and do my own thing with it. If they were just like, right, I'm going to take what there is, follow the story of how Anakin goes from this kid to turn to the dark side to become the character you see later on. You wouldn't get like we can get onto episode 3 in a moment, I guess. But when he kills Count Dooku, it's like, and it's always like, you should kill him. He's like, but it's not our way. He just goes, kill, and it's like shocking. He's like, I shouldn't have done that. It's just like, what? It's like, you just executed this guy by cutting his head off with 2 lightsabers. And you're kind of like, that was my dad's slice of pizza in the fridge, and now we've eaten it.
and now it's in my stomach.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Speaking of pizza, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. Okay. So did we? Yeah. Look, we're gonna run out of time, guys. We've already gone reasonably long, so we could wrap.
Fast pace.
Right.
Yeah.
Lightning round.
Okay.
Master.
Lightning round. So we have got Star Wars Episode 3. Who wants to give some thoughts?
I would say the same level as the what is that, Master? I can't see like.
Yeah, Master.
Yeah. I would say because again, great choreography, and also they stopped making Anakin a bit of a dick. In this one, he's actually a little bit charismatic. He can improve a lot, but he's actually a little bit charismatic.
Yeah, because they've been obviously we've not seen the Clone Wars stuff, but he's been in battle and he's got that back and forth relationship with Obi-Wan, the banter stuff. And I'd say the only scene I love in that film, as well as like the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight, is when they're in when you got Padme in her apartment and Anakin in the council chamber. There's no dialogue. There's just that music, and you can see the weight of like Anakin shedding a tear, the emotional weight of what he's about to do. He's like, if I stay here, Padme's gonna die. But if I go and stop this, I might be able to save her. So what do I do? You can see him questioning, should I help Palpatine or should I do as I'm told,
Okay, No, go ahead.
And also it's peak Palpatine. This movie is peak Palpatine. Like, this is like we finally see him go, yeah, and it's like fight with Yoda and stuff. Like, again, like, the real star of the prequels movies, unfortunately, is not Anakin. It's Palpatine. It's like he's like the real.
You find out how
hero in that.
Palpatine becomes the way he does.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mace Windu gets killed in this, as all of the Jedis are getting slaughtered.
Ultimate power.
Yeah, exactly. Right. They do. Yeah, I think it's a good film. I think it's a good film. I don't know, looking at this, if we've got all of everything completely correct, because I don't know if Return of the Jedi is on the. I think it is a step above the prequels here. But
Just put the Clone Wars.
Okay, so let's go. Episode 7.
Night.
Yeah, I agree. Because I don't think when it came out, I was completely fine with it.
Yeah, it was okay, even if it rehashed the same plot point of A New Hope. Yeah. It was okay. That was the problem with it. It was just okay.
I mentioned this a lot of time. The trailer shot is still in my head, where we see the stormtrooper remove the helmet.
Yeah.
And it's John Boyega going, breathing heavily. It's like, yes, I'm going to get a stormtrooper story. I'm for this shit.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and it's a shame we didn't go that way, but still, it was an okay film.
Well, it's just amazing how much the character of Finn just got diminished from 7 to 8 to 9. He's so unimportant. Like, whereas it was like him and Rey, and it's like, okay, and then Jesus, what's the third guy called? Poe, right? And it's the Poe Dameron. It's like, okay, so we're gonna have these, and these are the new Luke, Han, and Leia. And it's just like, well, we're gonna go all in on Rey. We're gonna make Poe a bitch in number 8, who tries to be heroic and then just gets knocked out.
And then we're gonna make Finn yell Rey every time. And we're gonna make Finn just yell Rey in every single shot that he's in.
Is it also in episode 8 where like Finn's like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself, and then someone's just like, no glory, and knocks him out, right?
Yeah, and her whole reason was, no, you don't kill someone you love. When he was trying to set, so basically everyone is dead, galaxy's screwed, all because you wanted to bone him.
Yeah, but you know the weirdest thing? Finn would have been like, I've been in this whole movie, I've been like rambling about another girl, Rey. Like his whole line is Rey.
Rey.
Like you know that. You probably, bad idea to have feelings towards me, right? Like, all you've seen me in this movie is, like, call her name out. Like,
I'll tell you what it is, Cap. I'm going to say this very briefly. It's Dragon Ball side character logic. You got the main characters fighting, and you got the side characters going, quick, let's get in and help. And it's like, what the fuck do you think you're going to do?
Yeah.
Like, these are, like, imagine if in, like, the Battle of Heroes with Obi-Wan and Anakin, there's Padme constantly screaming all the time, no, stop it, guys, you are friends, and what the fuck do you think you're going to do? They're trying to kill each other, you're just getting in the way, piss off.
I feel like they should dub Krillin's voice. From Dragon Ball Umbrella.
Why? I'm gonna help you, Rey!
Okay, so very quickly, so like I think we can agree, like episode 7 is where it is.
Yeah.
At the time, everyone could say, "Wow, they must have some big plan." Obviously, Harrison Ford getting killed. They've done that to instantly establish Kylo Ren as a Vader level bad guy. It made sense. Then.
Sorry.
But that the logic there, the logic is sound if that was their intention. But then they were something like, no, we're going to do a love story with Rey and Kylo Ren. And it's like,
why?
This guy just killed Han.
Why?
He cannot be redeemed, right? It's like literally, so we just said about Vader, killed all the younglings. And it's like, well, how can that guy ever be redeemed? We didn't care about the younglings other than the fact that they're children, right? Kylo Ren killed Han Solo, who was the most loved character in the whole franchise. And then
and he's a massive dick!
Anyway, so the question is, where are we putting episode 8?
Youngling, next one. Youngling, next film.
Okay, Rogue One, where do we put that?
Hi.
Council member. I think council member.
Oof. Wow, I wouldn't go that far, but Cap, what would you say? Cap?
Yeah, I mean, like it's one of the most strongly written films, I would say, and it kind of I do like the story of like the Death Star weakness and all that thing. Although it wasn't that much entertaining. That's my only problem with it.
Right, so I don't think like the robot whose name I forget in it, he was pretty funny, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, the story is they've got Jimmy. No, not Jimmy Smits. That's Leia's father, who I think might be in it, or maybe he's in Solo. But who is it? He. Oh God, what's the actor's name? He was Hannibal. He was Doctor Strange.
Oh,
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen.
And it's like, so they kidnap him. They try to kill whatever her name is. Who I literally, when they put this out, I was like,
Jyn Erso.
Okay, fine, right? I was like, is it just who is this? Is it Rey's sister? Who is this guy? Right? And so they've kidnapped her father, and now he's like, I'm a broken man. But if they'd just get someone else to do it. So I had to go along with it and design the Death Star, but I put in a fault. And the whole film is just about finding the same secret. That the very first movie was about a mission of getting this secret note. So it's a complete retread. It's a dramatic ending that obviously they're on the planet that's destroyed, and so they don't have the happy ending. And we get really dodgy CGI Peter Cushing, and it ends on dodgy CGI Carrie Fisher, like literally the week she died, which was, unfortunate. I think it was alright. Out of the new Star Wars, it was fine. The corridor scene with Darth Vader being a badass, literally everyone is rooting for him in that scene, which kind of means that they did a bad job, because you shouldn't have been, because he's the villain. But fine.
I'll go. I will change it to where you put it there in Master. Because of those points that you just made, I'm leaning towards your thing. I was thinking more along the lines of you do see that grey area in a way, like the Empire, of course, they're the bad guys, but then there's that sort of grey with the rebels and how they're behaving as well, you think, the rebels are the good guys, but then the actions that they take, you think, oh, wait, aren't these the good guys? Aren't they supposed to be for liberation and freedom? Why would they needlessly slaughter or needlessly abandon people or say, oh no, murder this person that could potentially help you? Because that's not the rebellion you see in A New Hope.
Yeah. Okay, very quickly, 2 more to go for the movies. And the one thing I can say about this is obviously we'll try to compromise on that, so this isn't going to turn out the way any of us would agree with. Where are we vaguely putting Solo? It's got to be better than...
I haven't seen it.
It's definitely better than The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But I'd say Knight.
Oh, okay. I won't go against that too much. It's worth seeing, Cap. It's worth seeing.
It's a bit of fun. It is just like a one-off fun little film, Is it Empire Strikes Back level? God no. But it's fun. I'll say that.
But you know what? Like, just very quickly coming on to like episode 9, I'd say it's the same ballpark. Because
No. Put that down.
It's better than The Last Jedi.
Well, no, Dave, bring it down a bit.
Yeah.
Bit more. just leave it in there.
Make it disappear from the screen.
Because I strongly say Youngling because it pisses on everything, and bringing back Palpatine with no build-up for God knows what reason, having them build Death or Starkiller base weapons on every Star Destroyer, and then having a fucking somehow they have a time limit until they're ready to go, so we have to planet hop to all these different places to find one fucking item that we can find the fucking Star Destroyers on, that then come out of hyperspace anyway, and then we're gonna ride on the Star Destroyers with fucking horses, and while all that's happening, Rey's having an existential crisis. Oh no, because I'm a Palpatine, that must mean I'm evil. No, 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 no. Anakin was a Skywalker, and he wasn't evil. He was made that way.
Yeah.
You were not made that way.
Yeah.
You know, angry, nerd rage.
Wait for it, wait for it. It's wait for it, and...
Nerd rage!
Okay.
It literally pisses me off, that film.
Fair play, guys. I will relent. I would say, like, if I can do a tiny shuffle, I would still say it is better than episode 8. Because to me, at least they tried. They knew that they'd royally screwed up, and they tried to put in some fan service. I had more fun before I left the cinema with it, but I take on all the points you just said, guys.
Yes, but I tried making a sausage and egg bake, and it was disgusting, and I never tried again afterwards.
Funny thing, like, do you know the line that Oscar Isaac says, like, somehow Palpatine has returned, and if you freeze on that frame, his brain is thinking, what the fuck am I doing? Why didn't they film Dune already? I should have been Timothée Chalamet. Why am I doing in Star Wars? My whole career is ruined. Internal screams, nerd rage.
And then when they do that, and when they do the whole, all this forced dyad thing that they've established in The Last Jedi, that somehow they can teleport items across each other, and they're fighting across basically dimensions. I'm like, that is the most stupidest thing you could ever think of doing in all of Star Wars. And I go back to this point. Darth Vader had a somewhat redeemable story because he was a good man and he could be redeemed. With Kylo Ren, he's a new character. So if you want to have him go down this path of pure unredeemable character, push through and go with it. We don't need to have the redeemable villain. You know, not every villain has to be redeemable. Have them bad. Have them... maybe have Kylo Ren be the one who kills Leia. Have him... No, I've separated myself from...
Look, so,
no,
okay, they did have
I've separated that from that.
She died
but
in real life, right?
yeah.
What they did with her to finish off her story was so bad.
Oh, just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
What is it? Like, obviously they had to do what they had to do with her. But if
No,
you
they
admit-
didn't!
No, look, they had limited footage, right? And they were like, we CGI'd her in this last picture. We're not going to CGI her. No, now's the time you CGI her because you don't have any footage, right? So they did what they could out of the footage they had. But just the very idea that, like, Han gets killed by his snot-nosed brat son, Leia just evaporates for no reason, and and Luke evaporates whilst nowhere near the battle he's taking part in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm actually thinking of? You know, this whole movie, the whole Rey, Finn, and what is the other, Kylo? Okay. You know how it would have been nice if they all three were students of Luke, and that's how the movie starts? Was like, Luke starts the new Jedi Order, and these three are the students, and that's where the movies go from there. And like, probably like in the second film, or maybe in the third, when we see like Kylo Ren fall to the dark side. He's been like a decent fellow, so somewhat, and then we're like doing the movie through struggles or something like that. He maybe idolizes Vader too much. He turns evil, and then he even kills Luke. Although I'm not keen on the idea, but like even kills Luke. That could have been such a story, but like that's reimagining the whole movie.
Well, yeah, it is. But you know what? I think you're more onto something. Because if it had shown us, like, we got that backstory of Luke was going to kill Kylo in his sleep. Like,
that's not Luke Skywalker. Yeah. That's not Luke Skywalker.
My God, Jesus, this kid's gonna be evil. I'm gonna take him out.
Well, exactly, right. So even if it was like, it shouldn't have been that he tries to kill him in his sleep. If it was like he's got a big problem with Kylo, and it's like this is going to become something, Kylo should have been the one to be reactionary and start killing everyone and just about escape out of there. And Luke should have had a moment where he's like, I could have killed him, but I can't because it's Han and Leia's son. And that should have been the thing where he's like, I made this big mistake, and it could have built up to the moment that you're talking about, Cap, where Kylo could have been like, you know, it's like, oh, I'm not going to kill you, and then Luke still hesitates, and then either gets killed, or they could have gone like, not that they should do flashbacks, but literally it could have been just like mirroring what happened with Obi-Wan and Vader, and Luke just takes the evasive action, and it doesn't happen, and then they go a different path. I don't know. Anyway,
it would have been like, what if Obi-Wan didn't fight Anakin, and this would have been like, that's how the monster was like a bigger monster was born.
Yeah, exactly. Right, guys, we're gonna have to wrap things now. Extreme Improv should be starting in a minute. But this has been fantastic. This has been really good. We can do more tier makers, and perhaps we'll get on to...
I just want you to do only one thing, Dave.
There you go, Cap.
Yes!
There you go. Right,
yes!
done.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Whatever, I don't know it. So, Dave, where can the people find you?
Well, you can find me here on Geek Battle and on Xstreamed in a few minutes. I will be over there in various shows. And also, check out my YouTube channel, Dave MC Gaming, where I have my own gaming channel. I do Let's Plays, live streams, and currently there's my Poppy Playtime playlist. I'm going to be doing Chapter 3 very soon. I'm going to be recording that part. And also go check out my previous stuff as well. I've got some stuff coming up with Danny O'George as well. We'll do some stuff together as well. And my geek recommendation is go watch my stuff.
You can check me out on Swordfish, where I sing and dance, I throw myself in a bucket, and I work with puppets. There's a video about like Scar and Mufasa doing their own Valentine. So check that video out. And my recommendation, go check out Dave and his stuff. But the other thing is, there's some big stuff happening on the channel as well. That's an announcement. Something big, something really big.
Is it Lionel's sword?
Yeah, maybe not that big. But like something big, the episode might drop on not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So it's a very mythic episode, I even say. The other is like, I did forgot to mention like the Vampire Hunter D movies, the anime movies. Recently it had the anime anniversary. So check out those old anime movies. It's really great.
Awesome. My name is David Pstansky. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter @David Pstansky. Spelled P-U-S-T-A-N-S-K-Y. You can also get my new book. The logo's playing a bit havoc on us here, but the Extreme Improv 2, a bigger book of improv games. Just so you can see how much bigger it is literally a bigger book with loads of games in there. So, with that, until next time, and it's available on Amazon worldwide. So, until next time, stay safe, always stay extreme, live long and prosper, may the force be with you, nanu nanu, and ciao for now. Boom.